The Nashville Predators currently find themselves in fourth place in the Central Division after 66 games skated. They have a record of 37-25 and worth 78 points. Has the Predators just 7 points shy of an automatic qualifying playoff spot of third place in the Central Division, and has the Predators just 11 points shy of first place in the Central Division. We will update the entirety of the Central Division. We'll also update that wild card race where the Nashville Predators are heavily involved, but let's finish updating this line that we're on. The Preds' next game will take place on the road, where they have a very good record, 19-10-3. They've scored 211 goals on the season. They've given up 201 against. That's a goal differential of plus 10. Now, the Nashville Predators find themselves in a unique position right now at this moment in the season. Let's start with the Central's updated standings and then the wild card, and I think you'll see the picture as it's beginning to emerge. The Dallas Stars are in first place in the Central Division. After 66 games skated, they have 89 points. They have skated in the most games out of the three teams in the top of the Central Division. The Winnipeg Jets are in second place with 87 points. They've skated in the least amount of games out of the three at the top of the division. The Colorado Avalanche are in third place with 85 points. They've skated in the middle amount. So the Goldilocks scenario playing out right there. And the Nashville Predators found themselves in fourth place, just on the outside of the automatic playoff qualifying spot at 78 points. But they are number one in the wild card. St. Louis Blues are fifth place in the Central Division with 69 points. Minnesota Wild also have 69 points, but they're in sixth place. Those teams are 9 points behind Nashville. So the Preds, 7 points behind Colorado, but 9 points ahead of the only other two teams in the Central Division that are even, frankly, still alive at this point in time. Arizona's in seventh place with 57 points, but let's face it, they are done. They have fallen off that cliff. And the Chicago Blackhawks have that little E next to their name already, which means it's springtime here. And the NHL calendar is getting towards the playoffs because the Blackhawks have been eliminated. They only have 39 points on the season after 65 games skated. So you see the uniqueness of the Nashville Predators in the Central Division race. Right now, they have a very solid hold on fourth place in a league where everything is critically tight and very important at every single moment. The Preds find themselves with a rather unique cushion. Now in the wild card race, the Preds hold wild card 1 with 78 points. Vegas has wild card 2 with 75 points. The teams on the outside looking in are St. Louis and Minnesota from the Central Division with 69 points. So again, those two teams are 6 points behind Vegas, but they are 9 points behind the Nashville Predators. So the Predators have a 9-point cushion on a playoff spot this late in the season. It is a very good place to be in. And by the way, for those of you starting to creep into the mind and look ahead, right now, wild card 1 would face off against the Dallas Stars. Wild card 2 would face off against the Vancouver Canucks in the first round. That's got you updated on the playoff races and the divisional standings, and it's getting fun. We're in that time of year where every single point is so critically important, as we saw in that last game when John Hines pulled his goaltender in the overtime session just to get that extra point. That's the only reason the Minnesota Wild were a part of this conversation today, as a matter of fact. Now, for the Nashville Predators, once they wrap up this next game, which will take place in Winnipeg, they will have another 2 days off before heading into Seattle. So this is turning out to be one of the lightest week that the Nashville Predators have had in quite some time, probably since the All-Star break. They played a lot of hockey in a short amount of time. So for the Nashville Predators, once they wrap up this game in Winnipeg Saturday, they'll be in Seattle Tuesday, back home to face off against the San Jose Sharks. On the 21st of March, they'll be in Florida to take on the Panthers. On the 23rd of March, they'll be home against the Detroit Red Wings. On the 26th of March, they'll be facing off against the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, the Predators' next opponent is the Winnipeg Jets, and these two teams have played twice already. This is the third of 4 regular season meetings between these Central Division rivals, and this is a critically important game in the Central Division, a critical measuring stick game, if you will, for this Nashville Predators team. Let's recap the season series, and then we'll get more into that. It was back on November the 19th when these two teams played for the first time. Winnipeg scored the 6-3 victory on home ice. UC Saros took the loss, going 31 out of 36, giving up 5 goals against. Philip Forsberg did score 2 goals for the Predators. Brossoit picked up the win for the Jets. It was 20 out of 23 to pick up that victory. Connor did the damage, 3 goals and an assist for 4 points in that game. It was on November November the 26th, when these two teams will meet for the second time via Bridgestone Arena. The Preds would score a 3-2 victory. UC Stars would get the victory this time, 32 out of 34, only 2 goals against. Nyquist, Trennan, Yossi scoring goals for the Preds. Brossoit also started that game, took the loss this time, 23 out of 26. Perfetti and Morrissey scored the goals for the Winnipeg Jets. These two teams will meet one more time after this matchup on April the 9th, when Winnipeg will come to Nashville right there near the end of the season. That's going to be some critically important points either for Winnipeg looking to win a division or for the Nashville Predators looking to solidify their playoff positioning. So the Preds so far this season in 2 matchups, 1-1, 2 out of 4 points acquired against the Jets, and they've been outscored 8-6. Now, one update very quickly before we get into the Winnipeg Jets side of the ledger, and that's that Dante Fabro is officially out 2 to 3 weeks. The team has released that statement, and Stastny has been recalled from Milwaukee to go ahead and take that spot on the roster. So that is tough for the Nashville Predators. They've been relatively healthy as of late. So Dante Fabro out 2 to 3 weeks, missed the majority of the previous games. As a matter of fact, after the first period, did not return. The Winnipeg Jets, the Nashville Predators' next opponent. And again, this is a critically important Central Division game and a big measuring stick game. Listen up on this Winnipeg Jets stat line. Their record on the season after 64 games skated is 41-18-5. They have 87 points. They are 9 points currently ahead of the Nashville Predators, and they are 2 points out of first place in the Central Division. On home ice, highly impressive, 22-8-2. They've scored 196 goals on the season. They've given up 153. That's a goal differential of plus 43. Now, their goals for number is not that impressive amongst the 4 current playoff slotted teams in the Central Division. The Winnipeg Jets have the least amount of goals scored, but they've also given up the least amount against. This Winnipeg Jets team is very interesting. Now, let's take a look at more into the numbers for this Winnipeg Jets. We'll talk about the last 5 games. It was a 5-2 win at Buffalo on March the 3rd. Common opponent. Preds just played Buffalo lately. 3-5. It was a 4-3 loss versus Seattle. First of a home-and-home against the Kraken. Then on the 8th of March, it was a 3-0 win at the Seattle Kraken. So splitting that home-and-home series with Seattle. On the 9th of March, it was a 5-0 loss at Vancouver. And on the 11th of March, their most recent game on Monday night was a 3-0 win versus the Washington Capitals. Hellebuck gets the shutout in that game, his 4th of the season, going 23 out of 23. Let's talk about the matchup between these two teams. Let's put the microscope on and talk about their season trends, league rankings, and all the numbers. When it comes to goals for, I told you the Winnipeg Jets don't score as much as other teams, but these stats and standings will reveal exactly what the Winnipeg Jets are all about. Goals for, 3.06 per game for Winnipeg is 18th in the NHL. The Predators' 3.17 goals per game is 15th in the NHL. When it comes to the goals against category, Nashville giving up 3.05 per game is 16th. Winnipeg only giving up 2.38 goals per game. Again, only 153 on the season. That is 2nd overall in the National Hockey League. In the shots for category, 31.3 for Nashville is 12th best in the league, while 30.7 for Winnipeg is 17th. In the shots against category, 31.3 for the Nashville Predators is 12th overall, and the Winnipeg Jets limiting teams to only 29.2 shots on goal per game, 7th overall in the NHL. So 2 top 10 metrics for the Winnipeg Jets. Goals against 2nd, shots against 7th. When it comes to the special teams, Winnipeg Jets are behind on the power play in this one. I was surprised, but again, you look at the amount of goals the Jets have scored this season, it's really not that big of a number. The Jets have 17.8% conversion on the power play, 24th overall in the rankings of the NHL, 33 conversions, 185 opportunities. The Preds, 20.2% conversion rate on their power play is 19th in the NHL. They've converted 45 times on 233 opportunities. When it comes to the penalty kill, it is the Winnipeg Jets ahead by 1 slot in the league rankings in this category, 77% kill rate, 41 power play goals against, 23rd overall in the NHL. When it comes to Nashville Predators penalty kill, 76.7% is the 24th best kill rate in the NHL. They've given up 47 power play goals against. That is a very, very high number. When it comes to each and every team in the NHL, plenty of high-skilled individual scorers, and the Winnipeg Jets on Monday night had just about everybody in their top 5 bump up by at least a point. So let's give you those updated statistics. Then we'll update you on the Nashville Predators as well. Scheifele leads the team in scoring and typically does quite well against the Nashville Predators. 19 goals, 38 assists on the season for 57 total points. Morrissey is at 8 and 45 for 53. Connor already has 3 goals against the Nashville Predators this year out of his 27. That is the team leading 27. 18 assists added to that for 45 points. Ehlers, 19 and 26 for 45. And Nino Niederreiter, former Nashville Predator. 18 goals, 15 assists, 33 points. You know this is his time of year, and he is going to be a very difficult opponent to play against, as well as adding Toffoli there at the trade deadline. So remember that as part of this preview. The Nashville Predators statistics: Forsberg, 33 goals, 35 assists, 68 points, maintains his above point per game pace on the season. He had dipped below that for a moment. It looked like he was starting to stall out there in February, but now back on pace. The captain, Roman Josi, is turning out to have a great season. After a fairly slow start at the beginning of the Andrew Brunette tenure, Roman Josi has really adjusted quite well now in the last 50 games. 15 goals, 48 assists, 63 points. Ryan O'Reilly's at 24 goals and 32 assists for 56 points. Great addition to this Nashville Predators team. Nyquist, 17 and 39 for 56, and Tommy Novak, all he does is make plays. 13 goals, 24 assists, 37 points on the season. Anticipated goaltending matchup, and it is a significant one. A great number ones here. Hellebuck, a record of 30, 14, and 3, a 922 save percentage, 2.30 goals against, with now 4 shutouts on the season after getting a shutout in his last game against Washington with 23 saves in that one. And for so many years, it was Hellebuck versus Pecorine. Now Hellebuck versus UC Saros. He's a little shorter, but he's putting up career numbers that are so far outpacing Pecorine. Saros on the season, 27, 21, and 4, a 907 save percentage, a 2.85 goals against average, 2 shutouts on the season. A measuring stick matchup in every way for this Nashville Predators team. A win over the Winnipeg Jets would give the Nashville Predators a 2-1 record in the 3 games against the Jets this year. The Jets are solidly a playoff team. They have loaded up, and they are ready to make a run at it with a great goaltender and a whole lot of parts on that team that have had very good games against the Predators throughout their careers. This is going to be a very fun and very exciting game. I expect it to be hard-hitting. I don't anticipate the two teams are going to get along very well with each other in this one. It is going to be the beginnings of the playoff feel. We're starting to ramp it up. We're starting to feel that a little more in each game. Very excited about this one. Nashville Predators, Winnipeg Jets, 3rd game of 4 on the road trip. Preds, one of the lightest week. They've had an extra day of rest. They will have the opportunity to go into Winnipeg fresh, ready to go. Unfortunate about the Fabro injury, 2 to 3 weeks out of the lineup, but the Nashville Predators have proven they can bring Stastny up from Milwaukee, and he can fill in admirably, like how I did that right there, for this Nashville Predators team. That's going to do it for the preview. Hyped about this one. Hope everybody else is as well. We got to go back and talk about the previous game. It's called the Rebirth Sports Full Game Recap, and it is, in fact, coming up next right here on the Renegades of Buck Podcast.